I want to point that out because there's a lot of stupid people out there. You know, kind of the same stupid people as the janitor boy. You know, that janitor kid who worked for his parents' janitor company. He claimed everyone that was a holding company, and he's the chief investment analyst of a janitor company. And he comes out and says, oh, he didn't predict the collapse because, look, everyone knew it was going to happen. And then he found out I actually wrote he was looking at an article from 2008. You know, an article, right? I got the video clip. You guys want to see it? If I didn't predict it, why was the market, why did it collapse 50% after I wrote that article? Apparently the whole street didn't know it. Oh, and I already detailed the collapse in a book a year and a half earlier. And since that time, the janitor boy has got my book, and he's reading it and learning from it. These people on YouTube are all frauds and pieces of shit and liars and scumbags. All of them. Just complete fucking degenerates, which is why I never went on YouTube. Post the clip. I don't know if I got the clip handy or where it might be. I mean, if you want to hold on, let me see if I've got it. So someone's going to ask, and this is his little fucking sidekick about me here, okay? This is you can see June 2022. This is after I already exposed this guy as a janitor. You know, I made this video showing how this guy, you know, and his fucking flock believes him. He's a fucking janitor working for his mom's janitorial company. And he's telling everyone he's the chief investment officer of the company. And the company's a janitorial company. I mean, you can find it online. It's you know, and he actually, in one of his videos, he told people like, oh, we're a competitor with Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So let's listen to what he has to say here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm gonna skip past this little portion here. You might want to look at it. You can see the video here and take a look at. Someone asked him why he doesn't sell his overvalued, quote, overvalued positions in Amazon, and he proceeds to waffle and make shit up. And you can tell he's kind of caught in a bind. He's a complete bullshit artist. I'm not going to cover that today. What I am going to cover is to illustrate once again, this guy is a fraud. And I'll tell you why. He has a certain narrative. Typically what a con artist does, they have a narrative, and no matter what you say, it's always going to go back to that narrative, no matter what type of evidence you show them. And he's also the type of clown who will always try and correct something. He's always going to, and he's going to do it in front of his little sheep. He's not going to do it in front of the person he's trying to correct. You see? Because his sheep are too unintelligent and sucked into his bullshit to truly question him. And even when he's questioned, they accept his bullshit. So let's play this.
And then, so for this comment, there's an article from Mike Stathis on Seeking Alpha on May 13th, 2008, saying there's a 90% chance of recession. 4 months later, the stock will crash. But by then, a lot of people already knew it in the industry.
You hear that? Almost before he even finished reading the comment, he was ready to undermine that prediction by me. Did he bother to take a look at the chart? He claims that just about everybody knew there was going to be a crash and a recession by then, by May 13th, 2008. That's what he said. That's not true. Did he bother to take a look at the chart? Because he doesn't remember. I remember the details of what was going on during that time. During May, June, July, August, so on and so forth. I knew what was going on because I wrote almost 2 years earlier predicting the financial crisis in detail in 2 books. So does this clown bother to take a look, take a fair assessment? No, because he's committed to undermining anything that I've done because I called him out as a fucking grifter from day one. One of these fake investment gurus, and I've been right. By him saying this shit, all it's doing is making him have even less credibility. He has even less credibility. Let me show you something here. So, and by the way, I mean, how can he answer so fast? Think about it. He was 7 years old in May 2008. He was 7 years old. What the fuck does he know about what was going on back then? Nothing. Zero. And it's just shocking and sad to see his little cult following asking questions like he's some fucking sage. Folks, this guy's a con artist. He's a child. He's never worked in the financial industry. And let me just go ahead and say this. I'll get to this a little bit later. If you have any aspirations to work in accounting or the financial industry, you're actually throwing that away by talking shit to a leading expert. Because your shit's on YouTube now. And I'm on YouTube now. And people are going to look you up and look what's going on. And I'm going to keep proving my track record over and over again. So let's take a look now. This guy, Austin, I mean, the poor guy, I see him ask a few questions. He's a little doubtful of this guy, but he falls in the end. He falls for the dildo's response. And that's a bad thing. That's a bad sign. So let's take a look. Once again, he's saying that on May 13th, 2008, I said there was a recession. I wrote an article saying there was a recession, and then 4 months later, the stock market crashed. What does the dildo say? He says that everybody knew by then. Let's take a look.
4 months later, the stock market crashed. But by then, a lot of people already knew it in the industry. A lot of people.
A lot of people. Okay, so in other words, he's saying it wasn't valuable. I wrote that article for free, for the benefit of the public. That's what he's saying. It wasn't valuable, basically, because everyone knew it. If a lot of people already knew it, that means the stock market would have already crashed, right? The question is it an advance to avoid a collapse? Let's take a look at the chart and see. The article is actually on the 12th, originally on my site. The Seeking Alpha published it on the 13th, but May 13th, the Dow was 12,832. This was the record high, 14,000. Okay. The Dow went to a low of 6,500, March 9th, 2009. So what, 10 months later, hit a low? So I could have saved you if you read that article. Downside of what? Almost 50%? S&P was down by even more. S&P was down by almost, I think, close to 60%. Think about that. This was the record high. Now, I already wrote articles prior to that, and I predicted everything in the book, what would happen. I was banned. I was being banned. I had no exposure, no platform. That's why I started my own research firm in 2009. Take a look at this, folks. You think reading that article, taking it seriously would have helped? Do you think that a lot of people knew there was a problem? Go back and see for yourself. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a look right now. So here's some quotes here. But of course, I had already written my books that predicted everything, that advised, that recommended people to short the subprimes and the GSEs, Fannie and Freddie, which nobody in the world did. Nobody in the world. Let's take a look at a month later, after this article I wrote, June 9th, 2008. What did Ben Bernanke say? The risk that the economy has entered a substantial downturn appears to have diminished over the past month or so. So people are not worried.
But by then, a lot of people already knew it in the industry. A lot of people.
July 20th, 2008. The GSEs are adequately capitalized. GSEs are Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac. They're in no danger of failing. Folks, I predicted this in my book 2 years prior to this. And 2 years later, in 2008, in the summer, do you think I didn't already know? I mean, folks, you need to stop listening to these fraudsters on YouTube and spend your time researching track records. Take a look at spend that time studying, not reading, examining, studying my track record, going back and seeing for yourself, and try and compare it with anybody else's out there. Okay? Let's get back to the dildo. The dildo. So listen to what he says now. So he tries to cover up for this by basically saying after that, after he claims that everybody already knew or a lot of people knew, okay, think about it. Could have saved you 50% decline in the Dow and almost 60 in the S&P. If you listen to me, and the dildo wants you to think that, oh, that's nothing, everybody knew, right? And he tries to cover his trail by basically saying after that, oh, well, just because you predict something, you don't know when to get back in. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Like I'll say this too. It's like saying when we talked about like liquidity crunch. It's a lot easier to actually spot that there's a storm ahead, and then once you're in the storm, it's nearly impossible. In fact, basically impossible to say that's exactly the end of the storm.
Okay, did you hear that? It's easy to spot the storm. Really? Well, how come everybody didn't spot the storm? The dildo? How come? So in other words, it's easy. How come you didn't? Oh, that's right. You were 7 years old, Mr. Experienced investment expert. Right? You hear this? You see what I'm saying, folks? This guy is a dishonest con artist. He's trying to con people. Think about it. Think about it. Let's get back to the chart here. And then he says, well, you don't know when to get out of the storm. It's impossible. Guess what, the dildo? I actually not only predicted Dow 6,500 in my book, released in late 2006, and you can find that, I think, in chapter 17 or 18, the 6,500. I mentioned it. I also wrote about it a few times in public in 2008 and 9. And March 9th, 2009, the very bottom, let's take a look here. See that? March 9, 2009, I issued my very first market buy recommendation. Start buying. Start buying. You can go lower, but start buying now. This is the time to buy. Okay? I said, look, it can go a lot lower, but you don't worry about that. You start buying when you think it's a good time, a good value. Okay? I predicted in the book. I predicted it. Okay? All right? This is the first time I came out, the first time since I released my book, which was bearish in late 2006. In fact, I actually issued a sell and shorting the financials in October 2007. First time, look, folks, I waited and waited and waited. Boom. So I did spot the end of the storm, kid. And let me show you another article here. July 17th, 2008. Getting ready to short the financials again. And this relates to October 2007. That was the first time. Okay, think about that one. And then take a look at this. August 7th, 2008. Warning again. Get ready for the earnings meltdown. I talk about there's going to be a big collapse in Q4 2008 earnings. And of course, those would be reported in Q1 2009. Well, guess what? The stock market bottomed in Q1 2009, right? March 2009. Take a look, folks. Take a look. Make no mistake about it. S&P earnings estimates for Q4 won't even come close to estimates. Okay, I talk about here that Washington hadn't acknowledged a recession. By the time they do, it's going to be way too late. And that was exactly right. They announced a recession a year after it began.
There's a lot of claims that he has made, and no matter what there's a lot of claims that he has made, and no matter what you kind of ask, there's no substantive evidence he provides. He always just does the threat that you have to do the bet of 50,000 or whatever. there's a lot of claims that he has made, and no matter what you there's a lot of claims that he has made, and no matter what you kind of ask, there's no substantive evidence he provides. He always just does the threat that you have to do the bet of 50,000 or whatever.
So you hear that, folks? You hear that? You hear that? You see that? And let me just mention, by the way, if you take a look at that May 13th, 2008 article on Seeking Alpha, you can take a look at it. I didn't even write that there's a 90% chance of a recession. To tell you how stupid this Austin guy is. And this Fabio, they're both stupid knuckleheads. Why? Because clearly this was kind of it was scripted. You see that? It was scripted. He was already ready to shoot the answer off. They came in front of it because apparently what was going on, a lot of people were starting to say, well, gosh, this guy, I think he's right. I mean, and so this guy wanted to try and discredit me. So they did this like a Laurel and Hardy thing, right? And so they both looked at that article. And here's the point. Take a look at that article. I challenge you all to take a look at the article. I'd pull it up right now, but I can't. I don't want to take too much time. I don't know how to find it and whatever. You can take a look. Apparently it's May 13th, 2008. You saw the name of the article. I don't even remember. The point is this, because I know what I wrote. I wrote there's a 90% chance of a recession worse than that recession in the 70s. You understand the difference, right? I didn't write there was a 90% chance of a recession. You fucking stupid? Yeah, they are stupid. I knew a recession was going to come. I wrote there's a 90% chance that the recession is going to be worse than that in the 70s, which was a very severe recession. Okay? They can't even get that right. I mean, I'm the guy that wrote America's Financial Apocalypse, How to Survive and Profit from the Next Great Depression. You see? I mean, folks, how come nobody's calling these motherfuckers out? I'm the big swinging dick. You all seen ChatGPT. You've read it all. If some of you are too ignorant, too stupid, too lazy to go through and check my track record, right? Well, you got ChatGPT right there. You can plug the excerpts in. You've read it. You've seen it. Nobody can touch my track record. That's why I'm going to give anybody in the world, including this dildo Janitor, and this motherfucker owes me an apology. You go tell this motherfucker. He owes me a fucking apology. Okay? But you see, folks, once again, when you expose someone as a scammer, as a fraud, right? Instead of manning up to that or saying, well, I don't agree, right? I appreciate your opinion, but I don't agree. Instead of doing that, they want to cut me down, cut down the credibility. No one's got higher credibility than me. I've got the highest credibility. And if you don't know that, it's because you're fucking stupid. It's because you believe what the media tells you. If the media tells you Peter Schiff is an expert, you're going to fucking believe it. Because you don't have the common sense to go through and determine someone's credibility based upon their track record. Okay? And this is what I'm talking about, folks. People are this fucking stupid. They can't even follow a normal, Okay, so let's move on to the next segment here. Bye.